Welcome. If this is your first time here, I'm Terry Hartley at Rustic Barn Cards. Today we're going to make a fun card using the Peaceful Cabin bundle. But before we do that, there's just going to be a few days till the mini catalog, which we call the holiday catalog, and the celebration begins, and that is August 3rd. So for a qualifying order from the mini catalog or the annual catalog, you can combine those to get your qualifying order of $50. You can choose a free celebration item. There's also some qualifying orders that you place of $100 to choose a free item from the celebration. And the celebration will be from August 3rd through September 30th of 2021. If you do not have either one of the mini catalog or the celebration catalog, reach out to me in the description below, and I'd love to send you a catalog. And also, the annual catalog is live right now and goes through April of 2022. So again, if you do not have a demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. I'd love to send you a catalog, so just reach out to me. A couple other things before we start our card that I wanted to tell you about that's going on, in case you don't know or just might need a reminder. The Designer Series paper sale from the annual catalog, you can save 15% on all of these Designer Series papers through August 2nd. So we just have a few days left for that. And again, you can check out my website at www.rusticbarncards.com, and there's more information in the description down below if you would like to place an order for the Designer Series paper. And I'd love for you to join my team. You do not have to sell. If you like to craft and make cards, scrapbooking, this is an awesome opportunity, because by joining my team, you can save 20% on all the products you order from Stampin' Up. And starting August 3rd, so I'm talking about just next week, but August 3rd, you can choose $125 worth of product. You pay only $99 plus free shipping, and you get to choose a free bundle. And also, you will receive a paper pumpkin kit also. So it's an awesome deal, especially if you like to craft. And again, if you want to have your own business, that's great. If you want to just craft for yourself as a hobby, that's great too. So it's a great deal. And then the paper pumpkin for August, which you can sign up July 11th through August 10th, is the Hope Box. And the co-founder, Shelley Gardner, has designed this box, and it makes 9 cards, comes with a Stampin' spot, and the box is designed to be a keepsake box. And it can hold your own cherished memories, or you can add things in it and give it to someone else. So you can find more information on my webpage about that. And then I have a online class coming up in August that I wanted to tell you about. And basically, place an online order for $50 without tax and shipping, and use this host code, and you can be part of the class. And you need to sign up from August 3rd to the 15th, and you will receive a packet including cardstock, die cutouts, and enough black dots for the cards, and to make one of each of these designs. So it's kind of a special way of thank you for my customers. And I'm using the cutest Halloween bundle plus the black and white gingham ribbon and the cute Halloween Designer Series paper. And if you add all up, the bundle, the ribbon, and the DSP, it does come to $50. You place that order and you would receive a free celebration item. But if you already have the bundle or plan to order it in August 3rd, you can order anything that you want. Just use this host code. So place a $50 order, use the host code so I know that you're part of the class. And then I'll mail the kits out the card kit to you the week of August 15th. So again, more information in the description below or over on my webpage. All right, let's start stamping. So this is part of a suite, but you do not have to buy everything in the suite. And today I'm going to be using the Peaceful Cabin bundle, which is the stamp set and dies. So this stamp set has a cabin, a fence, a little fox, and the pine trees. And your kindness makes the world a more beautiful place to be. May you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season. Thank you, for you, wishing you the best. So even though it shows a wintry scene, you can also make it so it isn't wintry. But this is my Christmas and July season, so we are going to make a Christmas card, and I'm going to show that to you in just a second, the one that we're going to make. But I wanted to go ahead and show you the dies that come with this. You can die cut the cabin out, and then it gives you some details, and then you would need to cut, put some cardstock underneath, and then die cut this out and lay it on top. And I'll show you that in another card. But we have this die that cuts out the fox and makes like snow, and you have a die for the fence, and you have a die for the cabin, and also for the tree. So we're going to use this one. We're going to use this die for the cabin today, and the one with the fox. And and then we are also going to cut out the die cut the fox out. So, and then you have some extra snowflakes and some trees. So an awesome die set along with the stamp set. So here's the card that we're going to make today. Your kindness makes the world a more beautiful place to be. And the only difference today is that I'm going to add an extra layer of designer series paper from the designer series paper that does match this. So if you do not have the designer series paper, you can make the card just like this. But if you have some designer series paper, you can add an extra layer. So I'm going to bring in the card base, which is basic gray, and it's 8.5 by 5.5. I've already scored and folded the card, and I added a layer of basic white, which is 5 1/4 by 4 inside. And I am going to take my bone folder and make sure I get a crisp edge and lay that aside. We will need Old Olive ink and basic gray ink today in our card. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with basic white, and this is cut at 5 by 3 3/4, and actually all the dimensions are on my web page, and so you can just click on that link down below for all of the dimensions. And then the designer series paper, this is the piece I'm going to use, and it is going to go on our card right here. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that. So I've added glue to the back side of the DSP, which is beautiful also. And I'm going to open my card base up so I can try to line it up a little bit. It just helps me to line it up just a little bit easier and get it as straight as I can, and then press it down. All right, now we're going to start with our layer. And I'm going to be using the tree stamp, and notice how this is all one stamp, and there's a little bit of space, which I like to kind of give some depth. And we're going to be using Old Olive. So let me go ahead and ink this up. And then I'm going to stamp this right over to on the left. About right here. And we'll just cover that up with, I got a little bit too much ink there, we'll just cover that up with an embellishment so it'll work out. Then I'm going to go ahead and place this right here and stamp. And then I'm going to add a pine tree right here. So I'm just going to ink up this one. And of course it adds ink here, so I'm going to use a sticky note. And I'm going to cover that up. And then I want to stamp off, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp full strength. Then make sure that sticky note is covered. And then I am going to stamp right here. And then I have the little bit lighter tree behind there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just ink up these 2 pine trees on the end. And the same thing, I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add these pine trees about right here. All right, I think that looks good. Each card that you make is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to lay this aside, and then I'm going to go ahead and ink up our trees. So that's kind of the background. So now I'm going to go ahead and ink up the entire stamp of pine trees. And then I'm going to bring in this scrap of basic white, and I want some snow at the bottom because I'm going to die cut this out. So I'm going to bring this over to the left, more to the left, and kind of bring it up kind of high on my scrap. So I have room down here that's going to be snow. So I'll bring in our die cut, and so I'm going to place this right here. I'm going to go die cut it out, and then you can see that I'll have a little bit of a slope here, and this will be snow. So I use a sticky note when I die cut this out. I'll raise that up. And here we have our layer for our card. So I'm going to lay that aside. Get rid of this scrap. And we are finished with our old olive. And now we're going to finish our stamping with basic gray. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in our sentiment, which is your kindness makes the world a more beautiful place. And we will ink this up. Bring in a scrap. I'm going to place it kind of in the middle. And then I am going to fussy cut this out. So I'm going to be turning my cardstock. And this is just for something different. Rather than using, I could use my trimmer to cut this. I could use a punch. But I just went ahead and cut it out, and we're going to use that. Get rid of that scrap. Now I'm going to bring in the little image of the fox. And that's full strength Actually, I need different ink for the fox because I'm going to use the fox in soft suede, and so I'm using basic gray right now. So let me clean my stamp, and we'll do that fox in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and finish with our basic gray that we need. So I got ahead of myself. So we need 3 inks. We need Oud Olive, basic gray, and soft suede. But I'm going to go ahead. I've mounted the cabin, and we're going to ink this up in the basic gray. So I want to finish all the stamping with my basic gray, and then we'll ink up the fox in soft suede. So with my basic white, I'm going to take the cabin, and again, I'm going to bring that up some because I want this to be snow, because we're going to die cut the cabin out. So I'm going to move it a little bit to my left, about right here. Press that down. Isn't that beautiful? I just love this stamp set. And then I'm going to bring in our die, and we will place this right here, and we'll go die cut that out with our cut and emboss machine. So let me close up our basic gray ink before I have that all over myself. And I went ahead and run this through, use a couple little sticky notes to make sure it stayed in the right place. And here we have our cabin. Now, if I decide that I don't need quite this much for my card, I can always just go ahead and cut straight across here. So we'll lay that aside. And now we're going to bring in that scrap of basic white for our fox. And I am going to go ahead and ink up our fox full strength. And then you could, if you wanted to, you could have it a little bit lighter. I'm going to use the full strength. So let me go ahead and die cut this out, our little fox, which I already have one. So I'm going to lay that aside, close up our soft suede, and the only thing we have left to do is to bring in a scrap of basic white, and we're going to bring in this die here that has the shape of the fox, and I'm going to lay this right at the top, and I'm going to run this through the cut and emboss machine. And here we have this piece. So we're going to bring in all of our pieces, and we're going to put this card together. So we are going to adhere this to our card base. And then we'll add all of our die cuts and our sentiment. So we'll get this about right in the middle. And get it even. And then the fun begins. So now I will have the trees here, but I want to get my cabin figured out. So if I put it even where right here, you're going to see the cabin is too high. So I'm going to kind of place it where I want the cabin. And I think this looks about right. And then I can take the trimmer, and I'm just going to trim a straight line off. So I cut that edge off. I'm going to put this edge here, even with the basic white on my pine trees. And I like the placement of this better. And then I'm going to bring in this piece here with the pine trees, and I'm going to slide it underneath. And you can kind of decide, whether you want it like this. I think I'm going to place it about right here. So then I will just trim this little edge off, and I'm going to pop up the pine trees with dimensionals. before we do that, I'm just going to put a little pencil line there, and then I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off. So I've done that. I'm going to turn it over and add dimensionals. So I've added dimensionals on the back of the pine trees, and I put 2 in each of the backs of the trees and 3 on the bottom. I'm going to turn this over, and I want to make sure that I have it exactly right. So I'm just going to lay my cabin right here, and then I'm going to bring this in, and we're going to line it up. Maybe get it to the edge here. There we go. And then we're going to turn this over, our cabin, and we're going to pop it up. So we have a lot of dimensionals in this card. So I've added dimensionals. And turn this over. And the edge of our cabin piece is going to be even right here at the edge of our layer, our basic white layer. So I'll get that lined up. There we go. And now we're going to bring in our snow with the little fox, and I'm going to turn that over and add, you've got it, more dimensionals. So I've added 4 dimensionals. I'm going to turn that over, and again, I'm going to line up this edge right on the edge of our card. There we go. And then I'm going to bring in our little fox. I'm going to turn him over and get a mini dimensional. And I just added 1 on the back. And then we will, sorry, I think I hit the camera. There we go, so you can see better. And I will add him right over the little cutout for the fox. There we go. And now, isn't that beautiful? I just love with the snow and everything. Let's go ahead and add our sentiment. You could place I am going to place the sentiment down here, and you could do it just with adhesive, but I'm going to go ahead and add, you've got it, some more dimensionals. So this is going to have a lot of things popped up. And then I'm going to add a couple mini, I think, right here. So I've added dimensionals to our sentiment, and I'm going to place that right down here. Your kindness makes the world a more beautiful place. And of course, we're not quite finished yet because we need to add some embellishments. And you could use the Holiday Rhinestone Basic Jewels if you wanted to. That'd be a good set from the annual catalog. I'm going to use the Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And I probably could have moved my tree over just a little bit more to the left, and it would have covered up that little smudge that I did earlier. So that is one way that you could cover that up. But I didn't quite do that. I think I'm going to use this end here with the putty end, because I can just pick that up. And I'm going to place it right there to cover that little smudge up. And I think I'll place one right here. And then one down here. So here is another idea, a Christmas card using the Peaceful Cabin stamp set and dies, which you can order starting August 3rd. So this is a sneak peek in the holiday mini catalog. And let me show you the card that I started with. So here are the 2 cards. Do you like the one with the DSP, an extra layer, or do you like the first card that I showed you? So these are the 2 cards. And other than that, they're fairly similar. So the only thing I did was add an extra layer of the Designer Series paper to the card that we made today. So let me know if you like this card. Please give me a thumbs up. That helps YouTube to push my video out to other people, and I really appreciate that. You can read more in the description where you can go to get all the dimensions for this card. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button. Again, I'm Terry Hartley at Rustic Barn Cards. Have a wonderful day.